Hello everyone, this is the 2022 LEGO set 10497, the LEGO Space Galaxy Explorer. This is a redesign of a much older set from classic LEGO Space that had a similar design. However, I think you'll find that it has been dwarfed by this one. As it says on the box, this set contains 1,254 pieces, and given that it retails for only $100, this is actually a pretty good price for something with this many pieces. And it's not like they're all just little dots like some of these sets that have a lot of pieces. No, quite the contrary. This is a pretty much what you would expect from a starship build. There's various types of techniques used with this, and the pieces are pretty much what you would expect. And in fact, there's some very large pieces too. So it's not like we're just racking up the piece count with tiny little parts. This is actually quite a large set. If you want to snag this thing for a sale, just be on the lookout because it has happened before. Now, I was not around for the original lineup of LEGO Space, so I don't have the nostalgia for this, but I must say, even without that, this design is beautiful and really is pretty nostalgic for a sort of older type of design, and perhaps a bit of a retro design. It really harkens back to older sci-fi, which is something that I think is incredibly well done about this set, even if, like me, you aren't even old enough to be around for those original older product runs. It just still looks fantastic and somehow blends the modern, the futuristic, and this sort of retro. Futuristic looks very well. This thing is probably about 2 feet long too. It's hard to capture in the frame. But enough about the design. Let's get into some of the more nuts and bolts of what comes with this thing, starting with figures. We have here in the cockpit all 4 of the figures that this comes with. We have 2 of the classic red astronaut and 2 of the white astronaut, same design, but just white. So you can kind of actually see the scale of this thing. What is exceptional about this set is that all 4 minifigures actually fit, and fit comfortably, might I add, in the cockpit, which is incredibly rare, I have to add. I have to emphasize, you don't really have to squeeze these guys. They even have a little bit of room, so it looks very good on display. The seat design is a little awkward, so it might be kind of hard to get these guys in and out, but it works. But aft of the actual cockpit, we have this other area which has another one of these lovely yellow translucent cockpit pieces, and this is actually the it's a little bit of a medical bay here. You can see we have 2 beds in here. I brought this robot into here too. I'll show you him now. So we have this little robot figure as well, and he's got these little coffee mugs that I guess maybe he's serving them drinks. I don't know. Maybe he's a medical robot, but either way, it's not really a figure per se, but just another thing that's included. And as you can see on these, we have some storage. So the storage from the med bay is actually sort of interesting because you can see it on the inside there, but it actually connects to the outside. And here is what was actually in those storage compartments. You have this classic jetpack piece for the minifigures. Unfortunately, I'm not really sure what this is for because they actually already have jetpacks just in their respective colors, if you see that. So I'm not sure what this inclusion was for. Maybe there's a reason that I'm just totally missing. And then also we have 2 of what I would consider ray guns here, probably. Maybe they're scientific instruments of some kind, if you want to think about it that way either, but this was stored in the other. And yes, these things are a little bit inaccessible. They are a tight fit in these storage containers. And you can see we have a bunch of printed pieces. So another thing here is that all of these pieces here are printed. There are no stickers in this thing, which is incredible for LEGO to do. With a set this large and this sort of, considering the fact that it's already cheaper than it could be, just an incredible detail. And I think you can probably technically fit 2 astronauts in here in the med bay. They fit a little bit loosely on these beds, so I wouldn't recommend swooshing it around with them in there. But one thing that's interesting, if I rotate this guy a little bit, I'm not sure if I can even get the camera to see this, but there is a little bit of space underneath here where the astronauts could actually crawl through from the cockpit. If, you know, say they were in space and for some reason somebody stubs their toe or, you know, gets a paper cut in that front cockpit there, they could crawl down into the med bay and get treatment. Now we're going to move on farther aft even, and this is maybe the coolest feature of the whole thing, or the coolest couple of features perhaps. The entire aft of the ship, basically the engine area, opens up. It's using these little clips, so that's how it stays shut. It kind of clicks in like so. And I just broke off a piece. There are a few different pieces that can kind of break off easily on this set, but I'll get into that in a bit. If we're more careful this time, we can open up both sides of that, and you see we have this little rover in here, and it actually has its own ramp. If we push that piece down and pull this out, it will pretty much just, if I let this go, it'll just fall, and perhaps with a little bit of encouragement, this guy will come rolling right out. And now, I have to say, normally it works better than that. Normally you put the ramp down and this thing just comes right out. But anyways, we have a little rover here. So really neat that there's even space for this and that it's included. It's a really tiny little build, but it adds a lot. If you're taking these guys on an adventure, it's nice for them to have some accessories and stuff that they can do while they're, exploring the galaxy, as the name of the set suggests. Now, another thing that was totally unnecessary, but really a kind of an icing on the cake for me with this set, this bay back here with the rover in it connects to the med bay and therefore the cockpit. And if I look through there, you can kind of see how this thing goes all the way up to the cockpit with a sliding door, which I think is just excellent. It also functions kind of like an airlock, if you're familiar with the concept. It's just a compartment that you can pressurize or depressurize to go from space into the interior of the ship, because obviously in space there is zero pressure and there's high pressure inside the ship. There's air pressure, so if you open the door, all the air would just leave the ship immediately. So you need a separate room that you can depressurize, and then you can go out the back. At any rate, if you want it to be an airlock, it is. Otherwise, it's just a way to get back to this little rover. You can just place him back in there and it stays in with these little Technic pins. And that is most, I think, or all of the play features here. There's no, usable weapons. Yeah, we've got 2 pairs of engines, 2 on the top here and 2 in the back, or thrusters, I should say. In terms of durability, I already broke a little piece off here. This piece is only attached by 1 stud. This whole little, I imagine it looks like an alarm, like a horn to me. So like these guys, they'll come right off because they're only attached to 1 stud, and so you got to be careful there. Another point of durability is these plates are attached in a kind of funny way. So if you press on the right spot, they will break off. So be careful while you're swooshing this thing around. I kind of have to lift the ship up to see which is the landing gear. I'll just trust me when I say they flip up very nicely and are completely flush with the ship. So some of the better landing gear that I've really ever seen on a Lego set. Some of the best looking ones at that. So that is the set. That is the Galaxy Explorer. I think if you're nostalgic for classic space, this is a no-brainer. Buy it instantly. And if you just think like me that it looks really cool and are sort of a sci-fi fan, then buy it, because it's beautiful. It has a lot of functionality. It's got good space for the minifigures, and it's got little features like the storage on both sides. It's got the little robot, it's got the rover, and it's very large. It's swooshable if you're being careful with a couple of points where breakage can occur. You really can't go wrong here. I think they nailed the design. It's a beautiful mix of tiled and studs showing, and it's a great use of color in my opinion. I just think they nailed it through and through. So if you're on the fence about this set, totally go for it. It's a good one. That's my review. Thanks for watching.